It's Breyonna. So today we're going to be testing out the Jungle Book palette from the Beauty Bay Disney color collaboration, I think is what it's called. And I'm just going to keep it real with you. After I tried out the Alice in Wonderland Cheshire Cat one, I literally went and bought the rest of them and also the brand new launch. Because, like, they are just so cool and different, and that palette just really won me over. Like, if you like a unique color story, you definitely need to check these out. Because, I mean, look at how fun and different that is. Like, these smoky, kind of like periwinkle kind of shades. We also have these very different greens with a different undertone. Honestly, I don't think I have anything like these in my collection. I don't know, there's just something very eye-catching about this palette, let alone the other ones. So we're gonna be testing them out. I don't know if you like this too, but I just get like these random like rashes when I'm talking. If I get like slightly warm or if I just touch my skin wrong, I just get like this little like little thing on me and it's just driving me nuts. But before we jump into it though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. And of course, we're gonna prime our eyes using the Abh Eye Primer. Let me know in the comments down below what primer I should try. I've heard a lot of good things about the Glam Light one. I think it's icing, like eye, like your eye, and then sing, I think is what it's called. And I've also heard a lot of good things about the Beauty Creations ones, but I'm just going to be taking this on a big ol' shader brush and just tapping this baby in anywhere that we're going to be applying eyeshadow. So like all over the lid up to the brow. So now that those puppies are primed, I'm gonna go in with this kind of like pinky shade first. And this one is based off of the Jungle Tree Trunk. And what's really cool is on the back it shows you what part of the movie that they're based on. I believe it's actually this scene, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just gonna be taking this on this brush from Wet n Wild. And I'm just gonna be popping it in the inner half of my crease. And I'm blending it upwards towards my brow, and dang, like that has a good amount of pigment right away. It's kind of like a purple with a hint of pink to it. Now let's go in with a second layer. That is applying really, really nice. I will say though, these palettes are definitely a little bit more of like a niche pick. Like you have to want like a different kind of color story and something to kind of experiment with to really appreciate them, because again, like they're all matte, like there's absolutely no shimmers in them, and they're just a little bit out there at the same time. But that's kind of what draws me into them too, because sometimes I get just really bored with seeing the same thing launched each time. And I just want to like experiment and try different things in different color combinations. And I feel like these palettes really do that for me. Now I did bring it up a little too far, so I'm just going to take the brush that I applied my eye primer with and kind of like kiss the edge, bring it down. Again, I'm not applying more on my brush, I'm just taking the leftover. But you can see like it's applying really nice, like it does not look patchy or uneven. The goal for today's look though is to use all 6 shades in this palette. I'm hoping that we can do it, but again, not 100% sure. But the next one I want to go in with is this kind of like periwinkle shade. I guess it's not really a periwinkle, but I don't know how else to explain it. It's kind of like a purple with like a blue undertone. And it just has like that almost like periwinkle pop to it. And this one is based off of the Jungle Sky. And then I'm just going to be taking this shade on this brush from Anastasia. And ooh, baby, like this shade's powdery. But this brush is a A25. But this one's a lot dustier than that purpley shade was. Or the pinky purple. Now you can kind of see it has a little bit of kickback in the air, and also in the first layer, it isn't the most smooth. So we're going to do a second layer. Yeah, like this one definitely needs 2 layers. Like the first layer looks a little off, but this second layer just really like brought it back. And I am bringing it out fairly far, just because we are going to use those deeper shades and I want to get enough room for them. I'm also slightly overlapping it with the pinky shade. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is the most even shade. You can kind of see it just looks a little bit chunky. Like it's not terrible, but again, I wish it just looked a little bit more smooth. Now let's go in with a third layer. I'm kind of like pressing it down and seeing if that makes a difference, and then blending it. Yeah, this one's a little bit on the finicky side. You definitely want to do at least 3 layers with it. But the more that I build it up, the better it has looked. And this is also kind of like one of those shades that unfortunately can kind of like overpower everything. just because it is a little bit more of like a dusty formula. And also I would recommend using a light tacky base with it just to make sure that it has something to adhere to. So now we're gonna kind of like smoke it up, and I'm gonna go in with this kind of like deeper bluish purple kind of shade. It kind of has like a grayish undertone to it, and this one's based off of Baloo's Fur. This is just one of those shades you don't really see all that much, but I'm just gonna be popping it in the outer V. That does not have a lot of pigment right away. And the brush that I'm using is a Morphe M433. Let's go in with a second layer. You know, like, it's not like super intense by no means. And also, like, this one has a ton of fallout. I mean, just look at my cheek right now. So let's go in with a third layer, and I'm just kind of like pressing it down. And then buffing out the edge. Yeah. Like, it's giving me a little bit of definition, but it definitely does not look like it does in the pan, in my opinion. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below what you think, but to me it doesn't look like it. But maybe it's because the purple that we just used, this one right here, the Jungle Sky one, is fairly similar. And that's why? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Because like looking at it, I can see that it's giving me some definition, but it's not like super like rich either. Now this is the part that I don't know if it's gonna look good. It might make things look muddy and chunky. I'm not too sure. But we're gonna go in with the darkest shade on the palette, and this one's kind of a different and unique kind of brown. It's like a cool tone brown with like a green undertone to it. And I'm just gonna be taking it on this brush from Morphe. This is an M507. But again, like purple and green don't mix, so that's kind of where I'm a little bit about it. But I guess YOLO. So I'm just going to be applying it to the outer V. You know, actually, it's applying really nice. And I'm also kind of like feathering it in with whatever is left. So I'm depositing the color where that purple is, and then feathering it into the pink just a little bit. Not the whole way, just slightly over half. Let's go in with a second layer. Yeah, like this is applying really nice. I'm going to go in with a third layer, and I would say that this shade has a little bit more of like a buildable formula, which I think is really nice because if you're a beginner or if you're not used to using deeper shades, like using really pigmented darker shades is sometimes a nightmare because they can be really tricky to work with and blend out, and they can honestly like overpower anything that you put near it and just take away all of the, you know, cool stuff that you're doing. But this one's applying really nice. I wouldn't say it's like the most pigmented shade in general. Like I don't feel like it's as like rich looking as it does in the pan, but I still think it looks really nice. And even though this shade has like that greenish undertone to it, I think it's going really nice with that purple that we have going on. So I just cut my crease because honestly, every time I drink soda, like my hands are really shaky, and it's really hard for me to film when my hands are like super shaky. But we're gonna get rid of this like chunky line situation, so I'm just gonna go in with that greenish brown. Yeah, this is applying way more green when packed down. So just keep that in mind. Like, when I use in the crease, it does not look like that when pressed. You can see it kind of has like that greenish undertone to it. It's really cool. But you see what I mean about like the fallout? You can see it's just getting on my cheeks. So you definitely want to do your eyes first with this one. I'm going, I don't know, like halfway? Yeah. It's looking chunky when packed down. You can see what I mean? You see this like situation going on? I don't like when shadows do that. It looks weird. And the brush that I'm using is this one from Anastasia. It's an A3. It's like a shader brush, and it's a little bit fluffy, so it can really grab onto shades. And this is chunky looking right in here. Again, it's not horrible, but definitely not where I would want it to be. You know, this is as good as I can get it, so we're gonna roll with it because I'm hoping that once I start applying the lid shades, everything will just kind of like finesse together and make it look good. But the next shade I want to go in with is this more like mid-tone green, and this one's based off of the Jungle Leaves. Again, this palette is 100% matte. I really wish that they would have done shimmers in these, but I understand why they didn't. But I love a good shimmer on the lid. Don't get me wrong, like I appreciate an all matte look, but shimmers are really fun. And what I'm doing is I'm just like pressing it first in the center of my eye. You can kind of see how that chunkiness, it's like right here. I don't know. Maybe if I tilt my head up. Yeah, there it is. It's just, it is not cute. This shade's applying really nice. And honestly, I'm finessing it right on top of what we just did, just to, again, like, try to, like, finesse it out. Because when in doubt, just layer on top. Honestly, when in doubt, add glitter. But we're only using this palette today, so I don't want to use the glitter. But glitter makes everything better. But this is a really cool green. It's kind of like a grass green in a way. But it's a little bit brighter than that. And then what I'm going to do is get a little cheeky with it, and I'm going to take that dark brown and just press it on the edge. Again, I'm tapping it. I'm not like swiping, because then it's going to lift off the eye. Honestly, this is one of those palettes that is very finicky. Like, it is really cool looking, but it's finicky. Like, you really have to want to use this one. Which is kind of a bummer because, again, it's a really fun color story, but it's one of those ones it's going to give you a run for your money. Okay, I'm really excited for this shade, this, like, brighter green. Like, it almost kind of looks like a lime green, but it's not, like, neon. I don't know, it just has a really cool vibe to it. And this one's based off of the jungle trees. I mean, look how fun that is. Let's see how it applies. Okay, that is so cool. It's kind of like a yellowy green. Again, I wouldn't consider it a neon. It wants to be a neon, but it's not a neon. Dang, that is applying so nice. And it's not chalky either. I'm just going to do a second layer. And I'm really feathering it into this brighter green because I really want that like light to dark contrast here. I feel like that just kind of like brought this look to like a whole other level. Like that just kind of like brought it from like bland to fab. Kind of thing. So I just did my base off camera, and also I did add a little bit of like a white liner accent, and I use this ColourPop Grayson liquid liner, which is my absolute favorite white liner ever. It's like a felt tip, but it also works like a brush tip at the same time. I don't know, I really like it. But for the lower lash line, we are just going to mirror what we did on the top. So I'm first just going to mix the darker brownish shade in with the darker purple, and I'm just gonna smoke this in the outer half. Now using a smaller little blending brush, I'm just going to smoke it out using that lighter purple. And then lastly, I'm just going to go in with that pinky shade. And then for the inner corner highlight, I'm just going to go in with that bright green again. You can also go in with a shimmer, but I'm just going to stick to using the palette. Going into this, I thought I was going to absolutely love this palette, but you know, after using it, I'm a little bit meh about it. Like, is it the worst palette I've ever used? No. But could it be better? Most definitely. Because again, like these like bluish shades in here, like the bluish purples, like they're just really like dusty and they're not really pigmented, and you really have to build them up to get them to look like they do in the pan, especially this kind of like lighter one and also this deeper one right here. Now this one, I don't feel like I can get it to look like it does in the pan when I do layer it up with this. And also like this brownish like green situation. Now this one, when it's packed, you know, it does look a lot more pigmented and very, very rich, but also at the same point, it looks a little chunky. But again, at the end of the day, I think this look looks really pretty. It's just, you really have to finesse this palette. And for how much I had to finesse, I don't know if it's worth getting because of it. Because again, like the greens in here were really nice, like these lighter ones, and also this like pinky shade. But again, you know, you're looking at 3 out of 6 shades that are really bomb. And the other 3 are not that great. I don't know. To me, even though this is a really affordable palette, I think there's better formulas out there, even though the color story is really cool. But like, I have a hard time saying not to get it because I really do like Beauty Bay's formula, but this one just is not it to me. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look, and also let me know which palette I should use next. But before you go though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!